Have you ever noticed something strange? We live in the most informed generation in human history, yet most people are still stuck. You can learn business, fitness, investing, communication, or coding for free. One search and boom, unlimited tutorials. So if knowledge is everywhere, why isn't success everywhere? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Information is free, but execution is rare. Almost everyone knows what they should do. Very few actually do it. And that gap between knowing and doing? That's where average lives are created, and where extraordinary lives are built. In this video, we're breaking down why learning feels like progress but often isn't, why action feels uncomfortable but powerful, and how shifting from consumer to executor can completely change your trajectory. If you truly understand this, you won't just watch content anymore, you'll start moving differently. Let's get into it. The illusion of knowing everything. We are living in a time where information is everywhere. You can learn coding on YouTube, marketing on Instagram, investing on podcasts, psychology on blogs, and business strategies on Twitter threads. There are free courses from platforms like YouTube, Coursera, and even world-class lectures from universities like Harvard University available online. On the surface, it feels like success should be easy now. If knowledge is free, then why isn't everyone successful? Here's the harsh reality. Knowing something is not the same as doing something. You can watch 50 videos about fitness and still not lose a single kilo. You can read 10 books about investing and still never invest a single rupee. You can learn about communication skills and still hesitate to speak in public. Information gives you awareness. Execution gives you results. And results are what actually change your life. Most people confuse consumption with progress. They feel productive because they are learning. But learning without action is just mental entertainment. It feels good, like you are moving forward. But in reality, you are standing in the same place. It's like watching swimming tutorials without ever stepping into the pool. No matter how much theory you know, you won't float until you jump in. So this video is about one brutal truth. Information is free, but execution is rare. And that's exactly why execution is valuable. If you truly understand this concept, your entire approach to learning, money, career, and self-growth will change. Because from today, you won't chase more information, you'll start chasing action. Why information has become cheap. A few decades ago, information was expensive. If you wanted to learn something, you had to buy books, attend physical classes, or get access to mentors. Knowledge was limited to libraries and elite institutions. Only a small percentage of people could access high-quality education. Information had scarcity, and scarcity creates value. But today, we live in the digital age. The internet changed everything. With a smartphone and data connection, you can learn almost anything. Platforms like Google and ChatGPT can give you answers in seconds. Thousands of creators break down complex topics into simple explanations. The barrier to knowledge is almost zero. Because information is now unlimited, its value has dropped. When something becomes abundant, it becomes cheap. Think about air. It's essential for survival, but it's free because it's everywhere. In the same way, knowledge today is abundant. Everyone has access to business strategies, fitness plans, investing tips, productivity systems, and mindset advice. But here's the twist. While information became cheap, execution did not. Taking action still requires discipline, courage, consistency, and risk. Those qualities are not downloadable. You cannot copy-paste discipline. You cannot Google confidence and suddenly become fearless. That's why even in an era where everyone knows what to do, very few people actually do it. The knowledge trap. Why learning feels like progress. Let's talk about something most people don't realize. Learning feels productive. When you watch a motivational video, read a self-help book, or listen to a finance podcast, your brain releases dopamine. You feel inspired. You feel smarter. You feel like you're upgrading your life. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Feeling productive is not the same as being productive. Your brain actually rewards information consumption. Every time you discover something new, it treats it like a small win. That's why you can binge watch productivity content for hours and still feel satisfied, even though you didn't take a single action. It creates an illusion of growth. You think, now I understand how business works. But understanding is not building. This is called the knowledge trap. You keep collecting strategies, frameworks, and tips. You start using big words like leverage, compounding, optimization, passive income. But nothing changes in your bank account, your body, or your skills. Why? Because execution requires discomfort. Learning is comfortable. Execution is uncomfortable. When you execute, you risk failure. You might look stupid. You might lose money. You might face rejection. That's why the brain prefers learning over doing. It's safer. But safety rarely creates success. If you want real progress, you must move from information collector to action taker. Because the world doesn't reward what you know. It rewards what you apply. Execution is uncomfortable, and that's the point. Execution is rare because it forces you into discomfort. When you decide to act, you step into uncertainty. You don't know if the result will be good or bad. There's no guarantee, and the human brain is wired to avoid uncertainty because, historically, uncertainty meant danger. So naturally, your mind resists action. Let's say you want to start a YouTube channel. Watching videos about content strategy feels safe. But recording your first video? That's scary. You might mess up. You might stutter. You might get 0 views. The same applies to business, fitness, investing, or public speaking. Planning feels smart. Acting feels risky. That's why most people stay stuck in the planning phase forever. Execution also exposes your current level. When you act, reality gives you feedback. Maybe your skills are not as strong as you thought. Maybe your idea needs improvement. That feedback can hurt your ego. So instead of facing it, many people go back to consuming more information. It feels like progress, but it's actually avoidance. Here's the powerful shift. Discomfort is not a sign you are doing something wrong. It's a sign you are growing. If something feels slightly scary but aligned with your goal, that's usually the direction you need to move in. Execution stretches you, and the more you stretch, the stronger you become. The gap between knowing and doing. There is a massive gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Almost everyone knows they should exercise, save money, improve their communication skills, and avoid distractions. This knowledge is not hidden. It's basic, yet, very few people consistently follow through. That gap, between knowledge and action, is where most dreams die. Think about fitness. You already know the formula. Eat better, move more, sleep properly. It's not a secret algorithm, but applying it daily requires discipline. You have to wake up early. You have to say no to junk food. You have to stay consistent even when results are slow. Knowledge gives direction. Execution demands effort. The same pattern appears in money. You know you should avoid unnecessary debt, invest early, and build skills that increase income. But when salary comes, lifestyle inflation kicks in. When you think about investing, fear stops you. When you consider learning a new skill, procrastination wins. Again, the problem is not lack of information. It's lack of consistent execution. This is why people who focus on doing instead of just learning quietly move ahead. They may not know everything. They may not have perfect strategies. But they act. And action creates experience. Experience creates clarity. Clarity improves future action. It becomes a powerful cycle. Meanwhile, overthinkers stay stuck in theory mode. Execution builds skill. Information only builds awareness. Information tells you what to do. Execution teaches you how to do it. You can watch 100 videos on public speaking, learn about body language, tone variation, storytelling, and confidence. But until you actually stand in front of people and speak, your hands will still shake. Your voice may crack. Your mind may go blank. Why? Because real skill is built through repetition, not observation. When you execute, your brain forms stronger neural pathways. You adapt. You correct mistakes. You improve timing. You develop intuition. This is something information alone cannot give you. Reading about swimming won't make your muscles coordinate in water. But jumping into the pool, struggling a little, and practicing consistently will rewire your body. Execution also builds resilience. The first time you try something, it's awkward. The second time, it's slightly better. By the 10th time, it feels normal. That transformation only happens through action. Information can guide you at the beginning, but growth only begins when you start doing. So if you truly want mastery in anything, business, communication, fitness, investing, stop obsessing over collecting more knowledge. Use what you already know and start applying it. Skill is not created in your mind. It is created in your behavior. The market only rewards execution. The real world does not pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you deliver. You might know everything about marketing strategies, sales funnels, investing principles, and productivity systems. But unless you apply that knowledge to create results, more revenue, better products, improved performance, the market doesn't care. Knowledge sitting in your brain has zero economic value. Applied knowledge creates value. Think about it. A person who has read 50 books on investing but never invests earns nothing. Meanwhile, someone who understands only the basics, buy quality assets, stay consistent, think long-term, and actually invests can build wealth over time. The difference isn't intelligence, it's execution. The same applies to careers. Two people may complete the same course. One starts building projects, applying for opportunities, facing rejection, and improving skills through practice. The other keeps watching more tutorials, waiting to feel fully ready. 5 years later, their outcomes will be completely different. The market rewards action takers, not perfection seekers. Execution creates proof, and proof builds credibility. Once you have results, opportunities start multiplying. But without execution, you remain invisible, no matter how much you know. Perfectionism, the smart excuse. One of the biggest enemies of execution is perfectionism. And the dangerous part? It sounds intelligent. People say, I just want to learn a little more before I start. I'm refining my strategy. I don't want to launch until everything is perfect. On the surface, this sounds responsible. But most of the time, it's fear wearing a professional suit. Perfectionism delays action. It convinces you that you need one more course, one more book, one more strategy before you begin. But in reality, you're just postponing discomfort. The truth is simple. You will never feel 100% ready. Clarity comes from movement, not from overthinking. When you launch, when you publish, when you apply, when you speak, that's when you learn what actually works. Waiting for perfect conditions is like waiting for the ocean to become still before you learn to swim. It will never happen. Execution is messy. Your first attempt won't be amazing. Your early work may feel average. That's normal. Every expert you admire once produced beginner-level work. The difference is they didn't wait for perfection. They improved publicly. If you want to stand out in a world drowning in information, embrace imperfect action. Start before you feel ready. Adjust as you move, because momentum beats perfection every single time.